Princess Elena Castillo Flores, do you swear to protect and defend the Kingdom of Avalor?
Is it supposed to do this?
This is gonna be fun.
That's Elena of Avalor. She is Disney's first Latina princess, and she's got her own TV show, which is about to debut. Now, I think all of you are dads, and I think there may be some princess stuff in your life.
Dios mío.
You got 4.
Yes.
Do you have a daughter?
Yes, I have.
Oh, so we all got daughters.
And are your daughters all princess
princess
girls? Are they all into princesses?
A little bit, not a huge amount.
Okay.
I have 4 beautiful brown-skinned daughters who all want to be blue-eyed, blonde-haired princesses.
Wow. Okay. So what does it mean then to have Disney expand its representation to have a brown-skinned, brown-haired Latina princess?
Well, if it didn't sound like a Taco Bell commercial, it might mean something.
That's coming. No doubt that's coming. If this show takes off, there'll definitely be
The Princess Chalupa.
Yeah, exactly. The queen of chalupas.
I don't know. I mean, you're bringing up the question of identifying with someone on a screen, right?
Yeah.
And so why is it that my daughters and everyone wants to be Elsa, as it were, right? This kind of Aryan ideal. I don't imagine that that this new Latina princess is going to change that. And I'll bet the same way with the Princess and Frog movie, which had a black princess a few years ago, this is not going to catch. I suspect this won't last very long at all.
Yeah. Well, I think what the problem with this, the problem is overall in cartoons and the things that I've been exposed to in the last few years as a dad.
You sound traumatized.
But there is a huge problem of representation across the board when it comes to cartoons, right? So I think all of a sudden now we're like, there's one, and it's like this big, it's amazing that there's one. I think the issue is that we need to have more representation, and I think the problem with what I'm reading about this particular character is that there's no actual specific country that she's affiliated to.
That's why she's
and
Taco
that means now you can add in every single Latin culture all in there. It's let's throw the kitchen sink into this.
Where's the wise abuelita?
Right, because Latin culture is a mono.
Because it's only one. But what it's a short-sighted approach, because basically it means that you're saying everything we're going to do is going to be in this one character.
But this was,
when you need to have
this was product
multiple,
tested, right? Like they're trying to get every possible
but you need
category.
to have multiple ones, because I mean there are studies out there, and they're basically 1% of there's 1% of major speaking characters in cartoons are Latino, when the actual U.S. population is 17%.
Well, that's what they're actually dealing with.
So if you're going to do one cartoon, I mean that's not going to. You need multiples, and on top of that, and people are recognizing it.
Listen, for the historical record, there is Dora, right? Like I feel like as an academic, I need to bring this up.
There was Dora and Diego. Steve, do you think too much is being made of this, or do you think this is actually like look? Do you think it's important?
I mean, I recently had to sit through The Little Mermaid again.
Okay.
Right now, the politics of The Little Mermaid is there's a beautiful young exploring girl who likes to explore the oceans, and she's told that she has to give up her voice for a guy. I mean, I literally can't think of a worse message to send to a young girl than that, right? So that's the standard we're going from, Like that's what we're trying to get better than. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there was one character where her eyes, like one single eye was actually bigger than her waist. Right? Like, it's we're dealing here with Disney princesses, and they do not have these discussions, right? Like what they have realized is, oh my God, Hispanics are 17% of the U.S. population and growing. We need a piece of that market. How do we get it? It's really that simple. And all they're trying to do is navigate it, causing as little offense as possible.
Yeah, but and there are other cartoons out there, like this dearth of representation is being basically exemplified by things like there's Doc McStuffins, which is also another character,
right?
Which is also another Disney character, a black doctor, a 6-year-old doctor whose toys animate and come to life. And right now, that's the only show that I've seen where there's actually a black
and its numbers
black
are
protagonist.
bad, so they're killing it, right?
Well, but the thing is that I don't. There's a huge amount of support for it online, and W. Kamau Bell has been one person who has been kind of behind kind of the online push. But essentially, like the representation again is like the reason why that feedback was so intense and so strong was because of the fact that this dearth of representation. So one cartoon is not going to change anything, and especially if you throw everything into one, it's just not the approach.
But Randy, do you think? I mean, you spoke about your daughters wanting to like loving the Aryan Disney princesses, and I should say there actually aren't any Aryan identified Disney princesses.
Very careful. Very careful. Yes. And Radicchio is still not fired.
Right.
Yes, he still has a job. He's just not going to be singing with them for a while. Yeah. But for your daughters, I mean, do you think, I mean, even if this is not about like we're going to change the world, but does it matter that a little girl or a little boy of color can have a character on a backpack or a lunchbox or a Halloween costume that resembles them? Does that matter?
I think it does because it means that the ideal doesn't necessarily have to be what we've been talking about is this sort of white elite version of things, But there's also the children's imagination. Like my wife's American from Milwaukee, and one of my daughters reads the Little House on the Prairie books, right? And what I realized one day when I was talking to her was she imagines herself in Brookville, Wisconsin, where my wife is from, but she imagines Laura as a little brown girl running around. Sure. In other words, they do it internally. This is the beauty, frankly, of reading as opposed to representation, right?
So she can imagine.
Well, she does naturally.
She imagines
is my point.
the character to look like her, right?
Yeah. So there is a balance there, and likewise, like the Little Mermaid, the actual original story is tough,
terrifying.
Yeah. The Disney version is product tested and made to appeal to as many people as possible.
I mean, I'd prefer it if my children didn't watch any of this stuff, right? Like, I wish there were no princesses at all, but. They want it, right? And that's what Disney has. They have the market testing, right? Like we have what we want to happen in the world, but Disney actually knows what people want.
Yeah. But clearly, all princesses matter.
You had to go there, Randy. You had to go there. We have to wrap. I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that.
Hashtag all princesses matter.
Send your angry tweets to Randy, not to me.
Thank you.